Great to have you on this Monday night, and further proof we need more dogs in our lives, right? And since we can't seem to get rapid testing in place fast enough, then let's hope we can actually get dogs on board to maybe help us out. And this is just the latest tool that could be available to us to help sniff out cases of COVID. And researchers now feel that dogs are actually a very cheap and effective solution that really requires little else than them picking up the right scent. And so researchers in France and Lebanon have actually been working with special dogs, the kind of dogs that would be either cadaver dogs or dogs that would sniff out things like cancer or dogs that sniff out bombs and those kinds of things. And they're teaching them to learn the scent of COVID. And then they go sniff out cases. And what they found, I think, is really interesting. Even the least trained dog picks up COVID, the scent of it, 76% of the time. And so researchers here are saying, this could be a very, very exciting opportunity. Éric Troncy is a professor of pharmacology at the University of Montreal's Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, and he joins us now. Good to have you.
Hi.
This sounds like it would be such a great and easy game changer, and it really comes down to money. But how did the research on this thing, how did you teach dogs to smell COVID?
Indeed, when I hear it's easy in research, I'm thinking, oh, no, it's not research. Nothing is easy in research. It came to olfaction because we all know it's the most developed sensorial sense in dogs. And it has been used for many decades now to assist human activities, particularly with the modern view of detecting bomb, detecting drug, and also helping people with disaster to find it under help for all this problem. However, it merged less far than 5 years, something like that we could use is fantastic ability to detect disease. And that's exactly what we call the medical detection, done by sniffing dogs. And
so let me jump in here and get the technically. So the researchers in this particular case, they worked with 6 dogs for about a month, and they somehow trained those dogs using sweat of people. So some people had COVID, some people did not, and teach the dogs that way?
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we're looking to do here in Quebec. And the main thing is every disease has a specific olfactive signature. And what is wonderful, you and I will not be able to smell it. The dog will. And that's the reason we are using the dog.
Is that why sometimes when someone's sick, the dog will kind of stay close because they know their owner is not feeling well?
It could be, probably because we have used indeed this aspect of dogs, in zoo therapy, particularly to calm down anxious people or children with mental health difficulties. Mm-hmm. And it's recognized, that the dog can smell you are not well. So literally, he is smelling it. And the point is that we have worked in research to find this olfactive signature. And I must say, it's so tough. We have spent many hours to look at the spectrogram and look what is the molecule or plural involved in this signature. And we are not yet able to detect it. We will need artificial intelligence to do it. But our eyes are not able to detect it. But the nose of the dog will do it. And if I'm looking to COVID and also to cancer, it's around 100% accuracy.
Yeah, what you were saying is because the dogs that had little training were able to get it 76% of the time, but a dog that's trained to smell for things like cancer, they got it every single time.
Absolutely. The group we are working for the breast cancer, our dogs have found 100% accuracy in sensitivity and 100% in specificity. So being able to not detect false positive, which is great because it's so anxious for people. And for the COVID, what happened with the result we got, actually you have what I'm calling the champion. The champion where the dogs will get the 100%, and other dog will be around 85 to 86%. But at this time, what I'm questioning, is okay. How the dog was tested? What were the conditions? Is really focus in the detection? What was the sample? How did you manipulate it? So all these points, need to be standardized on the detail to be sure we are doing the right thing.
How long, because obviously there's a need for money to bring it here, but how long would it take to get this program in place? Because I'm thinking, okay, so if you had dogs, you could put them at long-term care facilities, you could put them in schools, hospitals, you could put them anywhere, and the numbers are astonishing. 1,000 dogs in a country would be able to check 400,000 people a day. So you could have them at the airport and they could root out threats of COVID.
I could not say more than that. It's exactly our objective. And it takes usually, what I would say, my colleague in Helsinki, when we started the discussion on that, I asked her how long it takes to impregnate your champion. An answer is always the same, 7 minutes. In 7 minutes, the dog, was able to detect it and know. And at this time, that the dog is working in the Helsinki airport, this dog is 100% accurate. So it's just wonderful, how you can get it and make it so useful for many applications.
All right. And so I think a lot of people are saying, what are we waiting for then? Because we've got the vaccine on its way, but we're going to be living with this thing for at least another year. Hopefully not that long. But, what are we waiting for? Because this to me sounds amazing. Not to mention much cheaper than rapid tests.
Oh, yes, it is. And indeed, it's the main limitation, the barrier was, I think, it's a psychological one. Human people, they are trusting more a machine than a living system, and at this time, it's a pity considering it's our best friend, the dog, who can be so helpful for us, and we had this discussion. We are all in connections. We are 15 groups in the world. Working to develop canine units to detect COVID. And the group is France, who just published last week. It got funding from the WHO organization, where it was not able to get it from its own government. France, the people consider that they have to spend millions of dollars, to not say billions, in detecting it with PCR on all the antigenic tests. But when they have the dog unit close to them, but the WHO said, "Oh, it's very interesting," and particularly what they consider of interest. The detection with machine will always be limited to specific people, society with money, where this disease is worldwide, and the WHO is considering that dogs could be present everywhere.
No
and
kidding.
We could train them and bring them in some countries where you will be not able. It's not only the fact to buy machine, but you need to maintain the machine. It takes cost and it takes expertise. Not all countries could be able to do that at large scale. So that's the main advantage to do it with dogs.
Well, yeah, and you could solve a lot of problems with adoption at the pound as well. So you'd give a lot of dogs a purpose in life and cheap. I think what the best part I love about this research is that all the dogs want at the end of it is a toy to play with. They don't need much. They don't need payment. They just want a treat and a pat on the head. Yes,
they need human bond, with them. Amazing. That's the most important for a dog.
No kidding.
And they love to work, but that's the way, and for us as researchers, at the point, as veterinary researcher, at the point I'm particularly focused, I want to take more knowledge about how can I select these dogs? How can I educate these dogs to make them wonderful machines of detection, of medical detection? Because the application are we are talking about COVID, but it could work with cancer and many cancer for which actually we don't have good prognostic and detection method. We can detect epilepsy, we can detect malaria, we can detect diabetes, Alzheimer, Parkinson. We have proof of the dog ability to detect that in many publications for that. So that's very attractive.
No kidding. And Premier Ford, I know you listen to the show. Here's a very, very, very easy and very affordable, very quick answer to the rapid testing question. I think this is fascinating. I'll keep an eye on this. Professor, I thank you so much for your time on this.
My pleasure. Take care.
Professor Éric Troncy, I think it's amazing. I mean, you can imagine how many dogs you could get out there to solve a problem that we have right now, and it'd be a lot cheaper. Boy, oh boy.